Okay, so while I continually hear about how war games are too long and too complicated for anybody to play, I keep retreating how many people are playing said lengthy, complicated games to uh, their conclusion. I'm playing, well, I'm basically DMing or GMing a large campaign game for Star Wars that evolved out of my RPG uh, called Ash Worlds. And it's really pretty simple. Ash Worlds started as kind of the lead up to the Galactic Civil War. It was going on, but it wasn't really official. It was different resistance forces kind of melding together. It was really about the um, start of the Rebel Alliance. And now we're at a part where the Rebel Alliance exists uh, in reality, at least the reality of the story, as opposed to just kind of a fleeting thought or concept. And they've made a declaration of independence, and the reply has been basically war. Um, and so you have a galactic civil war between uh, two military forces. In amongst that, there's all the other things, criminal activity that was going on the whole time anyway. Um, just like in the previous, basically, Civil War, the Clone Wars, the Hutts just keep on doing what they're doing. Other criminal organizations, same. They may try to make some money by running some guns to the rebels or something like that, but spice still gets consumed. There's gambling, racketeering, um, all sorts of criminal activities that continue on. So they keep doing their things. Um, Piracy, same deal. Well, as far as pirates are concerned, there's just more possible targets because of the large logistical trains, but there's also a lot more risk because now there's a lot more military out cruising around. So, so folks that are playing a command of troops, whether they be criminal type troops or rebels or imperials, they're a character in a role-playing game, but their primary purpose is to fight large battles. Doesn't mean that they're withdrawn from the role-playing. It still goes on. I have Imperial commanders who are running Star Destroyers or fleets surrounded by Star Destroyers, and they're still involved in the RPG portion of the game as well. Um, Not as directly all the time, but they're still there. So if you want to be some sort of spy or saboteur, then you're more into the role playing and you're doing missions, secret missions to steal intelligence or technology or blow up an arms cache or smuggle one into some, uh, you know, rebellion cell or something like that. Um, or maybe you're a smuggler just trying to make some money in a galaxy gone mad. You can be all sorts of things. That's really the fun part of this. You're not adhered to any one particular in-game ideology. You can choose to be, fight for the good guys, fight for the bad guys, fight for the guys that are neutral. It's kind of like alignments. So, not difficult to do, not lengthy to do. Um, you write down some orders, you submit them to the GM, which is me. Those orders get put in with the rest of them. Everything gets handled and computed at the same time. And then results are given out to all the players. And rinse and repeat. That's the game. Take in turns. Here's my turn. Here's what's going to happen. Here's what, pretty simple stuff. All the cliches and put downs and offhanded remarks about time and complexity, they're not accurate. If you come and play the game, you'll see how inaccurate they are. So hopefully it'll play out. But got a lot of those kinds of games. And all people need to do is break down their preconceived somewhat narrow focused idea that anything that has any type of depth or scope to it is just too much. Can't possibly be done and takes a lifetime to play. No. Like I've always said, done these things all through and not just at Gen Con, although they were always, the Texas-sized versions at Gen Con, but all through different conventions, different meetings, different play groups, and not all children. I get the thing where people, well, when I was 14, I had all the time in the world because I didn't have any responsibility. I understand everybody's got responsibility, but and I'm not mocking you for having it, but I'm trying to think of it this way. Okay, guy says, yeah, I really like these games. They were a lot of fun, and I sure wish I could play them now, but these kids. Hey man, I got good news for you. That's not going to kill your gaming. If you play in these certain styles with these certain procedures, you can still get those kids to soccer. Your busy modern life versus your 14-year-old party down, don't have to do anything life, you can have a little bit of it back just by playing in a little bit of a different way that makes it easy to get it done and still enjoyable, even though it's not exactly like it was where you can just sit around with some Doritos and Mountain Dew or whatever beer and yeah, I'd love to sit and listen to REO and smoke one up. If you disapprove of that, fine, whatever. It was 1978 and I was a kid. Give me a break. But you know what I mean? Just I loved all that stuff too. But yeah, maybe you can't get that back because you're married with kids. But you can still play these games and have a little bit of fun if you just drop the here's all the reasons I can't and take a look at all the ways you can. And playing these games by post is a way you can. And so and then people, well, that's not the way, and it's going to suck, and I don't like playing, and I mean, there sure is a hell of a lot of ways that people want to talk about how. I mean, okay, if you can't do it, you can't do it, but then why are you even into it? I mean, I know guys that got so into like, we had a dude who got a girlfriend, and he was way into her, so much so that he just, it was kind of the Yoko thing, where he just bailed. And, but when he'd see us, he'd be like, hey man, he'd start talking about the campaign. Everybody was a little bitter. It was kind of one of those things, probably isn't the most healthy situation, and all that, but it's what happened. But we all kind of, why are you talking to us about this? We kind of razzed him. How come you're not, talking about where you took your chick last night, like you have been for the last 3 weeks? Also, I think he started to see that he was kind of abandoning us, so he'd come back, and his little consolation was to start talking about the game a little bit. But we all kind of were like, why? You ditched out. And I mean, I'm not bitter, but I just think to myself, if everything is just a reminder of how you can't play the games you used to have fun playing, why the fuck are you talking about them anymore, man? Take up Angry Birds. At least you got the time to play that at 5 minutes, 10 minutes at a time, and whatever. So and I hope you're not too insulted by this, but it really does get frustrating. And I just can't, I get to the point where, why the hell are you doing this? Why am I watching all these people talk about this shit and all they're saying is, well, I know everything about these games, but I can't possibly play one. They're too long. They take too long. Jesus Christ, come on, man. So, anyway, sorry, but shit. So, anyway, while all that's being thrown on Twitter, there's people here on Discord playing a game that everybody here, it doesn't jive. It's being played. We could use more people, but all the people are saying it can't be done while it's being done. Okay?